I'm back from vacation already. Meow, meow, meow. Well, greetings, everybody. Welcome back to Switch to Linux. We are here talking about this new Clearview AI that was broken by the New York Times. Not that I was able to actually read the article because, paywalls and stuff kind of suck. But anyway, we have a couple people on right now. There might be a few more folks that join us, so we'll probably wait a little bit to get into our conversation here in a bit. Maybe we'll have a pre-show rant again. Pre-show rants seem to be pretty big these days. Yelling about BitChute, yelling about library. I understand Tech wants to yell about Pinebook. You want to do that now or later?
Whatever the people want, I'll do. I will have to adjust my height first.
So before we get into this, would you recommend the Pinebook over the Librem phone? What do you think?
Based on the economics of price alone, I'm going to say the Pinebook Pro, just because it's way less.
And at least you have it in your hand, right?
after 2 days, 2 months, yes, 2 months, yes. I didn't actually get a notice that it was going to be delivered until I think it was last Saturday, and then it got here on Tuesday.
Nice.
So, yeah. The Pine64 emailed me and said, your order has been fulfilled. It's on the way. And that was it until I got a notice from DHL that it was getting delivered.
Sweet.
Well, hopefully it actually gets delivered then.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Who knows? It's probably one of those DHL scams. Oh, click here, and you hit it in your excitement. Like, oh crap, I installed that. Oh wait, never mind. I'm running Linux here. That Windows malware ain't gonna bother me.
Stuxnet, stand by.
Yeah.
So as for the Pinebook versus the Librem, I would go with Pinebook. Not only because it's cheaper, but as Librem isn't quite there yet. Well, the Pine phone, I would be going that because I can just replace the operating system on it.
Yeah.
Fairly easily, right?
Yeah. All right. So I am monitoring on Discord. If you are a supporter, either Patreon, Think Life Media, the link for the chat is on the Discord server. I also emailed it, put it on both websites as well. If you're not on that email list and you are a supporter, let me know and I will add you to that list. All right, we got some comments here. Hank says, 5 likes already. All right, very good. Hello, Present Arms. How's it going there? Okay, let's see. Best waiting screen. Yep. Hey, Vince, how's it going there?
Hi.
Hey, old Vince.
Yeah, you're alive. Good.
Hi, guys.
Yay. How's it going, man?
Yeah, good. I wasn't quite sure I was going to make it. I just got home from the dentist.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so my mouth is full of fluoride now, so I'm thoroughly under government control.
Nice. You're just like, your brain's just, that's right.
Much approved.
All right. I need a list, guys, of all of the fun conspiracy theory type stuff I can decorate a desk with. Just an FYI. Ooh, what could I be thinking of next? I don't know.
Lizard people.
That's right. Don't care if my face will
hear another novel coming.
Yeah. What's that?
I can see another novel coming.
Yeah. Well, I did. Oh, Vince, did you want on the list to read that? Do you think you can read that in a month?
I had to think about it. I don't think I'm going to have the time, so I'm sorry.
Okay, sounds good.
But I'll look out for it when it finally comes out, though.
All right. Yeah. So for you guys that are on the mailing list for that, I am going to wait until the end of next week because we have our local Writers Network group next Thursday, I think. And so I want to run it all by them first before I push it out. So the beta reader will come out. I'll probably send an email out to that effect. Although I think everybody that's on the list, except for one person that I know of, is already, watches one of my 2 shows. So I'll be doing my other show tonight at 9. So 2 hours from now on my other channel. So I'll have a link for that. All right, Tech, let's hand it over to you. What's going on with this most amazing Tech Pinebook? What's going on with that thing?
Well, in short, we'll just say it's called a Pinebook Pro, but it falls woefully short of an actual Pro product.
Okay. All right.
To be fair to them, I had an epiphany this morning. I had an RTFM moment where I thought maybe I should actually read the manual a little bit before I got any further into this. And the updates are in a kind of an odd place. It runs some sort of specific script that a guy named Mr. Fixit 201 wrote, and that's how they update the OS. So running like sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade doesn't seem to actually do much of anything. So the special script is what updates the system. So it's a little esoteric. There's some odd issues. The screen doesn't lock. The power cord actually does not charge the laptop. So I'm using my MacBook's USB-C cable, which according to their documentation, it is actually designed for that. So I don't know if it's intentional redundancy or if they knew that their DC jack was just a poor design.
It was DC jacked up.
Yeah, it's DC jacked up all right. That's for sure. I haven't had a chance to test on the alternate profile, but the CPU seems locked at 1.5 gigahertz. If you create an alternate profile, it won't go to the full 2 gigahertz. And it's a Mate desktop environment, but the default profile looks like Cinnamon. So when you create a new profile, it's all like Mate, like Ubuntu Mate design. So it's very jarring because I thought I was working under Cinnamon. I know you can customize Linux heavily, so I figured it out eventually. But there's just a lot of weird little things, like, and I don't know how I feel about this part. I removed Firefox because it wasn't working, so I uninstalled it, went to go reinstall it, couldn't reinstall it. After I finally figured out how to update the system, when I updated it, it reinstalled Firefox. So I'm wondering how many other programs, if I were to uninstall them, would be reinstalled by an update. So it's
Windows
strange.
10 like. Speaking of which, I am seeing here on Discord that Windows spyblocker.exe is blocked by Windows for being malware.
So does Windows block Windows?
Apparently, yeah. No. Windows gets a free pass.
Yeah, right.
Kind of like the police chief's son can get away with high murder in the town. You know?
Yeah, so the Pinebook just got a lot of weird little strange issues. Some are fixed after updates, some are not.
Yeah, so there were some builds out there for it. Did you get a chance to look at those? What was the one I was looking at the other day? Was that Manjaro, I think?
Manjaro is going to be
Manjaro,
yeah. That would be cool to see if that would work.
They've actually got a Gentoo build for this, which I'm kind of interested in trying out. I've never touched Gentoo before.
Be careful, man. Be careful.
Well, yeah. Well, there's also... Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, just on the CPU frequency thing, when you get a chance, have a look to see whether TLP is installed. It's a battery-saving piece of software, and I've had trouble with it in the past. It's pretty good normally for battery saving, but sometimes it limits the CPU governor, and then won't let it scale up.
So can that be enabled and disabled on a per-profile basis?
Oh, I'm not sure. I think you have to do it through... Does it use systemd?
I honestly don't know. It's some kind of Debian flavor, so it might.
Probably.
I think it's a service. It's a service, so I think you have to do it that way.
Okay. I'll have to look into that.
Yolia Olson says the Pinebook Pro sounds like crap. Would you call it crap, or is it just a little too new yet? What do you think?
It's for $200. There's better laptops to put Linux on. Let's put it that way.
Okay. I mean, I hear that.
Necessarily.
I paid only $100 for my Lenovo S21e. About what was that? I think I've been running that thing for 3 or 4 years now. Never reinstalled the operating system once I put Peppermint on it. I think I originally had Ubuntu on it. Then I found Peppermint. I wiped Ubuntu, put Peppermint on it. That thing, hilariously, it's 32 gigabytes. It actually dual boots. It can dual boot into Windows, although it hasn't dual booted into Windows in a long time. I should just wipe that partition out and just add it to the rest of the disk. That's probably what
so apparently my old laptop that I used to have before getting a MacBook Air at least has like one of those AMD Ryzens with the built-in APU, but it's a little bit different how it works. It's a little bit difficult to get Linux going with the graphics just because even though it's an APU and usually you would be able to get things going, it's a laptop APU. And some people have been having trouble with that, at least the first generation of those ships. So that's why I just switched to, well, this another computer.
We had I have a friend of mine has an Acer with a integrated NVIDIA, and we could not get Ubuntu Studio to work. We tried a couple different distros. We finally put Linux Mint on it, which works just fine. So, interesting. Well, I think we have a quorum of folks on, so let's go ahead and jump into topic, and then we'll hang out afterwards. We'll hang out here afterwards and see if there's anything else going on. Let's see if I missed any other contents. This one's for you, Vince. Mel Gibson says sodium fluoride reduces IQ and is a carcinogen. So you can rest carefully on that.
I'm not quite sure how much IQ there was left to begin with.
Yeah, well, I don't know. There's like I don't know about fluoride being a carcinogen. I mean, the fluoride atom itself does have some interesting properties. I'd be hard pressed to call it a carcinogen personally without seeing some actual solid research on it. But fluoride though does severely weaken bones and things. That is a big concern with it. So like
as
that's
a heavy
one of the,
metal, yes.
Yeah, well, it's not a heavy metal.
Wasn't it?
Fluoride, no, it's halogen.
Sorry, Mr. Chemist.
Yeah, so the weird property about it, like hydrofluoric acid is used to etch glass and things. Because of how hard the atom is, it has some weird behavioral properties. It's a little bit unusual. So, but yeah, I'd have to look at some of the other stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and dive on into our topic here. Where's my article view here? And whoa, I need to go back down. What? Kitty wants to come back up. Yes, Kitty, give me a second, Kitty. Let me scroll up to the top of my articles here, and then we'll go ahead and let you up. I did not look at the third article. It just showed up, and it looked like it was related. So
I came home on a ball of fire, driving as fast as I could to make it here in time, so I've not read the articles.
Hey, that's all right. Do your best. Just fake it. You know. All right, so here we are. We're going to be looking at Clearview AI just came up, and I have a kitty over here that keeps on pawing on my leg. So let's say hi to Kitty. Hello, kitties. And so this Clearview AI was an interesting story because basically it's this small startup company that really nobody's ever heard of until New York Times did an expose on it. And what they've been doing is going through online services and scraping all of the data, building giant databases, and then selling it to law enforcement. Initial thoughts, people?
For a safe and secure society.
That's right. Wasn't that what Emperor Palpatine said?
I'm glad that you understood exactly what I was getting at.
Okay, good. I did not miss that reference. Good.
No, not this time.
Anybody else?
Well, the only thing I can say, it's sketchy and it's pretty easy to do if you know what you're doing. So just taking a bunch of information, just sending it to law enforcement it's kind of an easy thing to do if you have the technology.
Yeah. Vince, thoughts?
Maybe we should all just move to a certain country in the east. Anyway.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, may as well get it over with, right? I mean, come on.
It's going to be the same anyway, so might as well.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
well, if they decide to implement a social credit score like China, I don't know where I'm going to be because I work for the feds, but I also do a Thursday live stream with a foreign national, so I don't know where I'm at on that list. Probably I'll start off in the neutral zone.
You know.
You say as if it's a question, though.
Yeah, so I mean, I knew when I started this channel, I was already screwed when I started this channel, and the reason is, this is like right pre-Snowden. In fact, pre-Snowden / early Snowden days, right? What my job was at that time is there was a startup company that half of you guys listening probably used their software. So at the time, the company was called Sapling Learning, and they were bought out by Macmillan. And so it's one of the largest online homework platforms now. So I was actually on the ground selling for this when all of the employees of the company could fit in one little building. Down in Texas. So I was selling the software for these. So I was like one of like 4 or 5 people when in year 2, I think I might have started at the end of year 1, that our task was simply to just call around and have hour-long phone conversations with professors all across the world. Well, all across the country. But of course, this is, people here on visas, other countries. So I talked to all sorts of people with all sorts of accents. I don't know where they were coming from. Hour-long conversations, calling in with my own personal cell phone. I'm screwed already. Like this guy here, he calls all these weird professor guys from all these different places worldwide and has these hour-long conversations. We don't know what he's saying, but man, he's doing. Sometimes he'll call him a couple times. In fact, whoa, what's he planning there? And so, I know they're already grabbing all this stuff. Then of course I got this YouTube channel, so they got all my voice, facial recognition. You guys are in it now because you're on the channel. So that makes it good. All right, 3, 2, 1. Everybody, block your camera. So. But the concern is that this company has, and I forget if it was this article or the next one, it's kind of going through some of what the company was doing. So looking back, some of the things that New York City particularly has been using facial ID for. So the one case, they even started to feed people that looked similar to the perpetrator into the facial recognition to get feeds out. You guys remember that one? I covered that about a year ago in the news. So it's like, guy robs a store. Like, I don't know. He looked kind of like Sylvester Stallone. So they found a picture of Sylvester Stallone in it, put out like 6 potentials, and they went and interviewed all these potentials. So the guy was trying to get the suit thrown out because it's like, I'm not Sylvester Stallone. Why did they scan a picture of Sylvester Stallone looking for me? I didn't hear how that case went, but yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
AI is just it's unpredictable, and using it for law enforcement is not the best choice because first of all, AI doesn't have any emotions or any recourse. It just does its job. So you never know what kind of results you might get because it's just a bunch of algorithms.
Yeah.
Just put together.
Yeah. Now, this line here in the article was very telling. And I just want to sit on this and go. It says, while the company was dodging me, it was also monitoring me. So in other words, the reporter's asking the company for comment. They're not replying back. At my request, a number of police officers had run my photo through the Clearview app. They soon received phone calls from company representatives asking if they were talking to the media, a sign that Clearview has the ability, and in this case, the appetite to monitor whom law enforcement is searching for. So not only do we have a company that's scraping all this data, not only do they provide access to this database to law enforcement, but they are actively monitoring exactly what law enforcement is looking for in real time.
Yeah, this part of the article really made me sit up and think. Actually, I mean, okay, so this is a conversation that we've got to have. This technology is here; it's already available and it's being used in these ways, right? But I think the main thing that sets us apart between other countries and what they might be doing with AI is transparency, right? Mm-hmm. The whole point of being in a democratic society is that everything is should be transparent and open for debate, right? Yeah. And if you have this sort of, I wouldn't necessarily call it an attack on the media, but just these companies being wary that they need to be careful what they say to the media or trying to hide things from the media by contacting the police like this, I think that's a big concern for a free and open democratic society. And having to deal with the problems and risks, and also some benefits as well, I think, of this technology. And I'll get into that, but I think there are benefits still.
Yeah, for sure. Anyone else want to jump in? Comment?
We're just looking at the first Verge article so far.
This is go read the New York Times expose on the creepy new facial recognition. That's the article I'm looking at here, just because I wanted to pull up this quote first.
Yeah, all right. I'm looking at the wrong one. I was actually able to read the New York Times article yesterday.
Oh, I did not get a chance to read the article itself because
paywalls. Yeah, I'm with you.
Real quick, Yellen, I think I have these articles linked in the description. I'm pretty sure I do. At least not the third article, but the first 2 I think are there. Anyway, go ahead, Tech.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing the articles right off in the description, but we can look at that. But
I'll post them.
I was going to say, I actually read the
post
New York
up there, I
Times
think.
article, and what you were saying, Vince, about those of us who live in a democratic society. Here in the U.S., we're not actually democratic. We're a representative republic. But what caught me off guard in reading the New York Times article is that there were quite a lot of senators, both Democrats and Republicans, who were in favor of this technology and encouraged law enforcement to use it if given the opportunity. I don't know. I think they even said that there were senators, no, not senators directly, who funded it. Maybe that's not right. I'd have to reread it. But it struck me that what I've said for a long time, which is wherever you think you're at politically on the spectrum, your representatives are not there with you. So, I mean, I very much fall on the conservative side of things, but that does not mean that the Republicans are on my side or that I think what they do are good things. So, people in power want more power. So I don't see this going anywhere good, but it'll be sold to us in that this will catch the pedophiles. And I'm concerned as well on, well, I guess there's covert surveillance of potential criminals. So I suppose maybe it's not breaking a law, but I was thinking that can you have law enforcement do this kind of thing where they can monitor you without getting a warrant that you're made aware of? But I think that they can.
Well, so some warrants do need to be alerted. There are those several warrants that do not need to to alert the topic. So that exact type of stuff. If a police agency has probable cause and they get a warrant, they can do covert surveillance without alerting the person. And I don't necessarily have a big problem with that, because we do need to have the police does need to be police job. Where I have a problem is going back to Snowden. We have this huge dragnet and it has not stopped a single thing. Yep. In fact, his argument is that the dragnet prevents a lot of things because we're trying to watch everything and everybody and piece it all together after the fact. That's not a good way to go, you know?
Yeah, it's this indiscriminate scraping of data. Going across the entire internet. Yeah. That's one of the big issues. And one of the analogies that I likened it to was police collecting fingerprints, which is another, a type of identification, right? But generally speaking, police are only allowed to collect fingerprints if you've been arrested, right? Correct. They're not going out and just fingerprinting everyone and collecting everyone's. They're not going to you to grab your coffee cup from your a cafe and collecting fingerprints off that.
Maybe not, but they might.
Can you imagine just seeing a whole forensics team like dusting down the door frame of Walmart trying to look for one fingerprint?
I mean, that is a way that they do use to collect data. Now, it's not indiscriminately everybody. So, for example, the famous which one was the serial killer they got in California by looking at the DNA databases, right? So the way they actually did the final piece of information determining it was him was literally stalking him until he threw something away and then retrieving that item and fingerprinting it. So that's actually how they got the last piece of connecting data. But again, they had probable cause to fingerprint that one guy. If I were just walking down the street and I throw a Coke can away or something and they go down, pick it up, photograph me throwing it away, they take the can out, fingerprint it, and then store it in their database, that is the specific breach of United States law. The question is, do they have any probable cause to look for that? That is what
this is the conversation. This is the conversation that used to be had when you have these companies trying to hide the fact that they are indiscriminately collecting all this data, knowing that's probably going to be wrong and knowing that public are not going to like it. Yeah. That's the lack of transparency that we have, right?
Correct. Yeah, and that's why we want to talk about this today, because it is being souped up and collected everywhere. We need rigid laws to say the data after a certain period of time must be deleted if you're collecting it at all. And it probably shouldn't even have reason to collect most of it anyway.
Right. I actually.
But on the flip side, sorry, go on.
Go ahead, Vince. No, you're good.
Vince, go.
I was going to say on the flip side, say you're the victim of a crime. Say someone steals your laptop or steals your car, and time is of the essence. Before you want them to be caught before they flip what sell what they've stolen from you. And if this sort of a information allows police to capture these guys within 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, I mean, wouldn't people want that? But there needs to be limitations, of course, and I think that's what the argument is here.
Well, I would counter that by saying, sorry, if, sticking to your analogy, if somebody breaks into somebody's house down the road, steals stuff, and the police come through, and they come knock on my door, and they show me a photograph and say, have you seen this guy? We think he stole something from your neighbor. And I said, no, I haven't seen him. They said, well, we need to make sure, so please give us a sample of your saliva. Let us take a picture of your face. Let us take your fingerprints. We're going to walk around the property, and if you're willing, we'll come into your house. It's like, we don't have the right to do all of that. I mean, if you think that I'm an accomplice, then yes, obviously. But if without provocation, there's just mass data collection, they do it to me and everybody down the street, then we have a problem.
No, I don't mean the mass collection. What I mean is, if it was in some way limited to people who are already on a database per se. So if you've ever been convicted of a crime,
we're all on that database,
or arrested. Well, you could argue that. Yeah. You mean this one? This one, yeah.
Yeah, well, this is what I was going to actually bring up before was, this AI, it goes through and it scrapes the internet for any images that it can find, and it stores it on its database. Well, I'm not consenting to be stored on that database, one, but that's neither here nor there. Two, for the sake of this point, two, if my picture is put on, say, Instagram, on somebody's private account, I'm not consenting to necessarily be put on Instagram. That person may have posted the picture without knowledge. But if there's some sort of internet scraper that Google has and Facebook and all these other companies have, since Instagram is part of Facebook, it might already be on Facebook servers, and they post it as part of a Google search or Bing search or DuckDuckGo or whatever. Now my database is now in the public without me consenting to have my face put into the public. And that's where I don't know where the legalities of that stand.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with you there.
So that law was tested because there was a company that was scraping LinkedIn data, and LinkedIn sued them to prevent the data. And if I remember correctly, in that ruling, I believe that came down and said no, that's publicly available data, so you can scrape it. I think that's
LinkedIn lost ruled. That.
Did they? Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah, they did.
It's actually one of these articles that today.
Yeah, it is in one of these, but yeah. So that's one of the things is, and I'm with you. Like it's the same thing. Okay, so it's the same thing here. I'm potentially going to be firing my tax accountant because he decided that he wanted to switch things and go to Dropbox for like everything. Like you want to store tax documents in Dropbox, and he never asked me if I want to be on Dropbox. He never sent anything. Of course, today I got a Dropbox invitation from Dropbox sent to. So now this guy gave, without my consent, he gave my email address to Dropbox to send me an invitation to their service. And of course, if I click on that thing, I'm going to have to create an account. It's like, I'm sorry, sir, we don't all have Dropbox accounts, nor do I want a Dropbox account. And so what do we have in place to say this company did not get my data with my consent, therefore it needs to be deleted? Now, this is where the California privacy laws come into place, GDPR seems to come into place, and we really at this point in time need laws, even if it means a lot of people go jobless because we shut down 1,000 data mining and data analytics businesses. I say so be it, because they haven't been doing a job for the American people anyway.
Well, the data's coming in way faster than they can analyze what is and is not private. So
correct.
It's pointless anyway.
So I want to say something. So I guess the biggest thing is, how does the AI know if the photo is real or fake?
Oh, that's another good question.
There's still a whole lot of fake and stuff, and as of right now, maybe AI is going to get better at spotting those things. But right now, it would be possible to fool those AIs right now with our technology that we have currently. So if the law enforcement uses that to try to get evidence, it's not going to be a good thing, because if people know about this and they're able to put fake photos and stuff, it could fool the AI. And the more people doing it, it could just entirely screw up the system.
I'm just glad this isn't my real face. It's one of the things I have as part of being part of the lizard people. It's just not my real face.
Take me. What's his name on Discord really wants to be part of the master alien race. Any creature more? He's dying for it, man.
Yes, he is. He is indeed.
Begging.
He is indeed. I told him CJ turned him down. You know, I asked CJ, and CJ's like, dude, I asked kindly, and CJ said no. In fact, you know what CJ cited? CJ actually said to me, dude, have you seen his social media posts? Guys all over the Facebook. Guys all over. It's too hard of a job to erase him from society.
It says, hey, I got to include you AI. This guy's bad news.
Yeah, I'm telling you. So, yeah. So that's, that's what happened. And I tried to explain to him, but it's, hopefully that turns out all right. Let's see the other article. Oh, good. Good, World Linux.
Oh, before you leave this one.
Sure. Okay, hold on. World Linux, let's go you first, and then Vince will jump over you.
So, years ago, when I wasn't that smart about technology, I did do a Facebook account. But at least I was smart enough to not put my face on it. I actually put some teddy bear.
Nice.
Or something like that. So, at least I was smart there, which means that Facebook doesn't really know my face that much. However, I guess some photos, my face is there because, especially with college and other activities, they probably take photos and they put it on their Facebook.
Did you catch the news clip last week where I was talking about all the things colleges do to track people?
Yes, I think I talked about that a little bit about Wi-Fi stuff. Yeah.
All right. Anything else? All right, Vince.
With this current article about the New York Times expose, that last paragraph, I think that makes a good point as well.
Very last one expert. One expert quoted the Times said that the amount of money involved in these systems means that they need to be banned before the abuse of them becomes more widespread. We've relied on industry efforts to self-police and not embrace such risky technology. But now those dams are breaking because there's so much money on the table, said a professor of law and computer science at Northeastern University, Woodrow Hartzog. Is it Hartzog? That's a cool last name. I don't see a future where we harness the benefits of facial recognition technology without the crippling abuse of the surveillance that comes with it. The only way to stop it is to ban it. Very interesting.
Yep. It's unfortunate that our society is run by money, and when you have large sums of money and these corporations making a lot from them, good luck trying to get your elected representatives to try to do anything about it, because
I mean, what's that expression? The best source of the best investment of money is to buy yourself a congressman.
Yep. I actually,
or 25.
I do have access to the New York Times article, so hopefully this will not get us banned. But to Vince's point, there's this one paragraph that says, in addition to Mr. Tom Thack, who is the guy behind Clearview. Clearview was founded by Richard Schwartz, who was an aide to Rudolph W. Giuliani when he was mayor of New York, and backed financially by Peter Thiel, a venture capitalist behind Facebook and Palantir. And Palantir is also used by the government at my job. So
very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go and I think I have a solution to all this, guys. I am going to start a subscription service. It is going to be a subscription facelift service. Once a month, you can come in for your new face.
Was it Face Off, that movie from the 90s?
Yeah, there you go.
Every week, the four of us could just swap faces.
That's right.
2-2.
Totally mess with the algorithm. Like, how did you get here? Let's go ahead. Since in light of that last part, let's instead of jumping to the first article, let's jump to the third one, which I did not send out to the supporters earlier. Tech companies are too big, and we've allowed them to exercise monopoly power. Sounds like exactly what we've just been saying, doesn't it? So
Yep.
this is actually a Vergecast. I did not get a chance to read all of this. I just the headline there. If the headline is exactly in it, I kind of agree with the headline. We are giving too much power to these companies. We're not, and this is why I love so much the free and open source software in Linux. This is why I do as much as I can without having to buy a lot of other things, particularly or using things from big companies, because I don't want some of them to get much bigger. Now, is my small, my lack of a $10 a month Netflix subscription going to necessarily hurt Netflix? No, but if I can convince 1,000 people that it's probably more worth picking up a few DVDs and not having it unless you absolutely need it, that could be something that could direct a market. And I'm not big into the whole boycotting anything and everything, at least not publicly. But at the same token, we are giving too much to these companies. Thoughts on this before we jump over to the other article?
Well, the only thing is we don't have a lot of choices. We have Microsoft, Apple, Google, but there's not a lot of choices. So the more choices that we can have, the better. Which sure, a lot of developers should probably work on that.
Yeah, looks like Vince went away from the camera and away from the microphone. I think the KGB came and snapped him out.
Oh no!
One more. So who's next? World, I think you're next. CJ's actually gardening me right now. Actually, TJ's up there, and there was somebody running to my house right now to snuff me off, but the spaceship abducted him. We'll drop him off somewhere in like Nevada or something tomorrow. Anyway, Tech, go ahead.
I think this just about 3-4 weeks ago. We were doing a live stream, and one of my final thoughts was that when it comes to the open source community, we should not be concerned with tribal corporatism. And I think that, and that's kind of the mission for open source, at least in my view. But I think that there's a lot of folks who do give into it, and it seems that corporatism is, and it's the major companies and these brands are things that people grab a hold of as if that's what it means to be, I don't know, successful or have purpose or whatever the case may be. And I think that it's part of it is that I guess you want to call it rampant consumerism on some level. I mean, this article from The Verge, I mean, I haven't read The Verge in some time, but my experience with them is they lean a little more to the left of things, so they're kind of anti-corporate as is. So I wonder if this
they're
article,
super left.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I want to say if they might be being harsher than is necessarily accurate for the sake of their own bias. But I have not read the article, so I couldn't swear to that.
And you're talking about the tech one, companies too big?
Yeah, the one I found it. I just did a quick DuckDuckGo for it. So, I agree though, because I think that any large organization, government or corporate or otherwise, is dangerous, because their ability to influence you individually, but large groups of people one way or the other. Yeah. So I do sympathize in this regard. I do think that there's a lot of companies that are getting way too big. I mean, they are huge. And I think that it also stifles the competition a bit, because you have, when a small startup, as World of Linux said, when you have the developers get involved, or these small organizations, when they start to get big and they get noticed, Google or Microsoft or Facebook or Apple goes and grabs them up. And I mean, it's like, I've only been a developer for 4 years, and Google wants to buy me out for $1.3 billion. Why am I going to say no? Yeah, sure, guy here. So
and that's the same thing.
Tough thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing we have with Sapling Learning. Is we grew 300% year over year for 3 years, and Macmillan came in, bought us up, and laid all of us off who were actually making money. And they hired in a bunch of college flunkies, paid them a quarter of what they were paying us, and now the company probably sucks, is my guess. Vince, you escaped. Very good.
Escape from what?
Oh, yeah, your camera went off, your mic went off, so we said they snuffed you off.
KGB.
Oh.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they came for me, but TJ's up there in the spaceship. Saw the guy coming and abducted him. We're gonna drop him off over in Nevada somewhere.
Isn't CJ your guardian though?
No, CJ's
Which
the
one?
in-house guardian. TJ is the one on the spaceship. TJ's rarely ever on camera because she's on the spaceship most of the time.
He's in orbit at the moment, right?
Yeah. She's the true lizard king over there. Well, she's the lizard queen, so she's just up there. And like I said, the guy was running to the house, man. He was gonna come snuff me off, and he just vanished. It was kind of fun. It looked like Rapture. Anyway, on to the first article here. The need for federal privacy laws has never been greater. Tech, I think you had some things you want to say about this one, right?
Yes, I think I accidentally closed that tab. I closed the wrong article. But there was, I think it has this line in there that kind of irks me, where it says, "Is there a good Marxist gloss to this?" My response is, "There's never a good Marxist gloss anything." Because if you studied the last century and realized that 200 million people died from Marxist-derived ideologies, that at best makes you malevolent and at worst makes you outright evil. So no, there is no good Marxist gloss off of this.
There it is. So finally, is there a good Marxist gloss on all this? Oh, this guy says, sure, why not? Let's just bring in the people who've killed. If you guys think that the Crusades killed people, you should see what the Marxists have done to people.
Oh.
I mean, really. Sure, he says, calling a revival of Luddism. Okay, let's focus on that for a second, because, I mean, you can look at me and say, man, you're such a Luddite. No, I'm not. I mean, if you'd be surprised by the degree of tech that I have around here. I mean, you know, my router is home-made, my media center is homemade. I'm running these lights that are here are running on a solar system, people. Okay, right around that corner there that you can't see, there's actually a 75 amp hour battery on the floor, and there's a 200 watt solar panel right out that window. All right. Ooh. I love the technology, I really do. Okay, but I don't want the technology to own me, and so I'm cautious about the tech that I'm using. I don't want to use stuff that perpetually checks home, particularly if it's a piece of software or hardware that doesn't need to check home. Here's a thought. Keep it off the internet. It doesn't need updates. I mean, really.
Right.
So
having having an understanding of the technology is different from just blanketly just barring it all.
Yeah. I don't want to bar all the technology. I love the technology, but I at the same time hate the technology. I do miss the times when we had, I don't miss the times of film cameras. I mean, if you've ever had to deal with it, World of Linux, you probably have no idea. The rest of us, we've experienced film cameras.
Yes, I actually do have something.
Oh, you do? But here's, I got to wait for him to get back because I got to challenge him on this one. All right. Where's it at?
Wait.
All right. You may have one, but when is the last time you relied on a film camera? That's cool. When was the last time you had no other option but go out, get a camera, snap, take it out, or even send it out, wait a few weeks for the film to come back developed?
Well, this was never
That's
opened
what I'm talking
at all.
Yeah.
But I do remember in the early 2000s when before digital cameras. Well, at least they were still expensive back then. We just used film cameras still for stuff.
Yeah. So, but here's the point is that I do like the new digital technology. Obviously, the technology is what allowed me to have, like, everything that I've been doing for the last 10 years is all based. Like, we had those tests in high school, right? You guys remember the tests in high school? Like, what should you do for your career, right? Everything I've been doing for the last 10 years didn't exist when I took that test in high school. And it's all based because of the tech. The technology's there. But we've crossed a line when we have given over our lives and let the tech control us. And that's the difference. Other thoughts on that?
You were only given the film camera. I was born into it, shaped and molded by it.
There's a Batman reference. I get that one too. Yes. Yeah. I do still remember my first, maybe my first real digital camera. I had one that was like a 0.5 megapixel or something, but I did have my first camera was a 2 megapixel. Wow, So amazing. I had a 32 megabyte compact flash card. That thing would take about 200 pictures. It's amazing.
There was one time
Yeah.
when I had my old film camera stolen from the backseat of my car once, and all my holiday photos were gone.
Oh,
Now,
that's okay.
had I been able to back up all those photos to the Google Cloud, I would have been fine.
Yep. Telling you. Yeah. Just an FYI, you guys follow my brother's channel on Twitch, right? Twitch TV Top Mavis Games. Do not ever leave a camera on the ground and walk away from it if my brother is nearby. You will get a picture of his crotch.
Oh,
Yeah, if he sees pictures. I've seen him do it several times. He sees someone leaves a camera on, he picks up, snap. What's it about?
oh God.
We are complete opposites, by the way, you know. So yeah, maybe we should just have ourselves some Marxism. So I mean, I guess so let's go ahead and we've complained enough. Let's go ahead and come up with some solutions. What should we tell our Congress people needs to be done with this type of stuff? Like pure Luddites, burn down the factories, close down Google, destroy it all, or should we do something more logical? What do you guys think?
It's not going away.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not going to go away, but my only thing is that it's the storing of the data that's bothersome to me. I mean, like if I'm walking down the road and I saw anybody or anybody saw me, effectively I pass into their consciousness and pass out of it. And if computer systems were like that, I wouldn't have an issue with it. But the fact is they're not. They're all that data is transmitted back to some server somewhere and it's saved right there. So that's my issue with it.
And it may or may not be safe. Yeah.
Right. It may or may not be safe. But I don't know how somebody in Congress or any government for that matter, since we're not all U.S. citizens here, is going to write a law that says after 10 days you have to delete these files and then have some way of verifying that. Because whoever would be the verifying authority would have to have complete and utter control or access to the systems.
Although you could have third-party auditors, though. I mean, which
but then I mean, whoever that auditor is has to have access to it. And then it's like
a solution. It's a solution.
But I don't
it's not
think
perfect.
I don't think it's a closed solution though, because then that auditor could be the leak of the data. You know, like I don't see a way that it's solvable. Like, you know, like back in the day when we're talking about film cameras, if a closed circuit TV system was at a gas station or something and it's all being recorded to a film on tape somewhere, it's usually there in the gas station. So it's not going anywhere until the police come with a warrant to say, hey, I need to look at your tapes.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. My idea would be the first thing we need to do with that is any data that's out there, you know, anything that you're collecting, first and foremost, if it's not a direct customer that you have absolute reason to collect data, I don't think you should be able to store it for more than, let's say, 24 hours for security purposes. You know, but if a store is robbed, the police are alerted within 24 hours. I have no problem with a database, even an online database, holding security footage for 24 hours. I don't want them to hold it perpetually, though, for the reasons already mentioned. So any type of data needs to have a specific timeout that immediately gets deleted, which can easily be accomplished with a cron job or anything else on a server. Very easy to implement. And then what we need to do then is we need to then look at preventing any third party having access to data. There's no reason. I'm doing business with you. Now, this raises a concern that you're doing things, you have third parties providing a lot of the services. I mean, you know, I run websites that we have Google Analytics on there, which may or may not be a useful thing. There are open source versions. I could actually throw an open source version up for doing the tracking, you know, just seeing who's there, and I can control it a lot better. You know, I don't want to see IP addresses or things like that. I just like just a raw number. Are people showing up on this page? Yes or no? And we can even question if I need to know that. But I mean, not that I look at the data much anyway, but overall, that's kind of what I'm talking about. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, that goes back to my previous point, though. Third-party data is worth so much money. and unless you have some brave representatives going out on a limb, it's very difficult for it to be curtailed and brought back. Back on the point of the Luddites, I mean, it really does distract because this stuff is not going away, and to flatly just say no, I don't want any piece of this, really just distracts from the conversation that needs to be had, right?
Mm-hmm.
So have something. So first, not everything should be connected to the internet. That's the first thing. Second,
but I really need to know how many eggs are in my refrigerator at any given time on my smartphone.
I do not
Samsung needs to know that so they can order new eggs for you automatically.
Yeah. The second thing is, for example, Facebook. They're just keeping building servers, so the storage capacity is just increasing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're just continuously increasing, but I'm not even sure if there's going to be a limit of how much they can store data, or they're going to have to start deleting old data eventually. Like on YouTube, there's a whole lot of data, right? So for dealing with all of that, if they're keeping building, I'm not even sure if they're going to be able to keep all that data. So
I think it's safe to assume at this point that there's no limit.
Not even.
I mean, these companies, Google, Facebook, they have so much money to spend, they'll just keep building and building. And wasn't it Microsoft that was also now building an underwater one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like sunk off the coast somewhere.
As for companies like Facebook, regulate how much data is coming in and out of those servers, because if they're just keeping building, well, the data will never end. So I think limits to that would be the best thing that we should consider.
Yeah, there's some ideas. We don't really have any solid solutions, but yeah. Let's have a look at what some people are saying in comments. Anna Rita jumped in. Greetings.
This fellow, the hermit, has opinions.
Okay.
And not, regarding Marx, I almost want to answer them, but it's like, that's not one of those podcasts.
Okay, let's see. Maybe we should go back to the tech companies or the government now. Are the government right now? Yeah, that's the thing. Is that the tech companies are just a third-party extension to the government. Okay. Don't know anything about Marxism. You can't learn about a dude by only reading writings of his enemies. No, we know a whole lot about Marx, actually. Capitalism and the enemy of Marxism. Okay, first and foremost, let's start here. Just to quell this one, we are not in a capitalist society right now. If you watch my business news, there's a word above my head. What is that word? Does anybody know? Anybody remember?
Corporatocracy.
Corporatocracy is a government system that some people confuse for capitalism, because corporatocracy is basically the corporation wags the government to their benefit. And that's why that word corporatocracy is above the business news, because we are not in a capitalist society. A capitalist society is a good society, but a capitalist society is tempered by morality, something America has pretty much lost. I'm not sure if it's down there and down there under either, but definitely. I've read very little Marx because I obeyed my culture in a way. Told you I was disruptive. Someone had the other point solution as the problem. Well, you can have your opinions. I'm going to disagree. Yeah, let's see.
I would say to the hermit, at least when the point I was making earlier, I'm talking about Marxism and Marxism-derived ideologies and forms of government. I'm not talking about Karl Marx himself. He had a very specific, and I think somewhat, from my perspective, he was a little bit immature in his life, but he had his struggles, and so he was reacting to the struggles of his life. I don't think that Marx designed a system with the intent of having so many people die as a result of his ideas. I think that was corrupted by other people, certainly. But nonetheless, the systems that came out of his ideas, intentional or not, ended up being bad, objectively. Period. The end.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. Yeah. Blood boy can't deal with stupid. But bye, hermit. That's okay. Yeah. I'm not exactly stupid. I think between the three of us or four of us on here, we actually have a combined lot of education between us all on a variety of
Yeah.
topics. I mean, I spent 10 years in higher education. I'm not exactly stupid. um,
I'm affected by fluoride at the moment, so count me out.
okay. I usually am smart, but I got fluoride in my brains.
Well, I'm affected by the cold a
There
little
you
bit.
go. Yeah. Stuff coming and going and VLANing IoT things. Put them in their place. Yeah.
Oh yeah, here's a thing. What the Drew Fuss talking about offshore data mining. What if all of these get put out like underwater data centers in international waters? What then? What are the laws in regards to that?
Whoa,
Pirates
can
are
of
gonna
worms.
steal it.
Yeah, right.
Pirates are just gonna steal it.
Yeah,
It's
right.
international water, right?
Well, they're
Drive-
they're
drive
likely
your
to
wind-powered
survive
boat
a
up
nuclear
there and-
holocaust, aren't they?
Depends,
They
that's
should.
really.
They should survive a nuclear holocaust. Yes, they will.
Yeah.
They will assure. So I mean, what is it? Was it Einstein who said, "I know not what World War III will be fought with, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones."
Yes, it was.
So as he says that, they will be fight with sticks and stones. Then some guy about 500 years out will finally get the technology, go scuba diving, find this tank, build it up, access it somehow, and be like, wow, look at all these stupid photos of stupid people.
I always wondered, like, what if the people who came after us were so irradiated they actually like thrived on, like, I don't know, like fire. So like you have those like warning symbols. It's like a flame with the little slash through it, and they're like, "Oh, the red stuff. Let's go eat that. I love that stuff." Like, you just never know what's gonna happen.
Seeing if there's anything over on Discord. Let's see. Yeah, even Google doesn't want facial recognition because of things like this. And Facebook with Clearview. Yeah, so there's an article there. I don't know if that's in my... I have so many news articles. We might be having another news marathon this week. I don't know yet. But I think that might be in my list already. I don't know for sure, but...
Yeah.
All your servers belong to us. All right. Not yet figured out the species of the ocean, yet they're talking about building under ocean. Yeah, you know. Yeah, I think the biggest problem with fluorine, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's a toxic byproduct of plastic manufacturing, and they had to figure out what to do with it. And so, like, let's sell it to the toothpaste companies. So the toothpaste, why not? It fills those little holes that we see under the microscope in the teeth, you know. Yeah, I think my fluoride consumption is very, very low. I drink purified water, and I don't brush my teeth with stuff with fluoride. Huh.
Well, that makes one of us.
All right. It's weird though. Like I actually had like a bad typical American diet. For like the last like week and a half or so, and it's like, dude, you feel really bad on that crap. I stopped and then I went back to like what I usually eat, and I feel all of a sudden better despite having not exercised in a while because it's been so stinking cold. Mavis Games is on. Greetings, Mavis. We were talking about you. We were telling people not to leave a camera around you. How's it going there, my friend? Or my actual brother, actually. But yeah, we're just kind of chatting about the final stuff, and yeah, news tomorrow. And I will. I usually post the link to the news on my brother's stream first, as he usually streams in the afternoon. So, but yeah, that'll be up there. And give us your final thoughts, guys. We'll go ahead and wrap this one up here, and I'm grabbing the link to my next show, which is in 1 hour. So, final thoughts, peoples.
AI is good and bad, but it's really unpredictable, and we still don't know what AI might do in the future. We're just to the beginning, all right? This is going to get bigger.
Terminator told us what the AI is going to do in the future.
Yeah.
Anyway, Vince, final thoughts?
Oh, I mean, everyone who's on the stream here and in the chat are very knowledgeable, right? So and we know about the concerns about this stuff. So I think we should be the ones who are actually going out there and starting the conversation or continuing the conversation with people who may not know as much about it. I think that's important.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to warn people about the dangers of all these things. And this is why, I wrote it was terse, but it was not rude message to my accountant saying, you cannot have any of my stuff on Dropbox.
But how should you be convincing about it? Because you need to explain it in a language that people can understand, and it's not too complicated.
Right.
So,
right. And not be too dogmatic about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Anna Rita got an exercise bike to use to hang clothes on. All right. And there is testimony from my brother right there. Do not leave a camera in my possession or laying around. I will take pictures. You will be disturbed. That is true.
Unless if I have a smartwatch that goes on the live stream and I can see everything. But
there you go. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Vint, Tech, final thoughts?
True Fuss just took the words out of my mouth. Any tool has no inherent morals. It is how people use them. And there's no truer example of that than to look at Microsoft's AI that they released and just put on to like analyze Reddit and Twitter. And within like 24 hours, it was like I think it was like it was like a pedophile, like a Nazi robot. Like it was crazy.
It became racist, homophobic.
Okay. Yeah. All the things that the left accuses us of being. I have two general comments. The first is I do have a couple more slots open if you want to beta read the science fiction book. I have opened up Canada entirely because it's not going to cost me much money to send a book to Canada. And any supporters, of course, Vince, if you change your mind, any supporters, you guys can get a book anywhere in the world as well. I have the link for that. Let me find the link for that somewhere here too. I'll just go ahead and paste that in. So, and we will, if you're on that list, we will be sending that out the end of next week. I have a meeting on next Thursday where we are going to be, I'm going to basically talk to our writers group. I'm not going to send it out before I do that. But the novel is done. It is 52,000 some words. I've had 2 people read it already, said they couldn't put it down. So hopefully that means I'm good at writing, science fiction. I mean, we'll see. Yeah, Tech's going, yeah, we'll see.
Maybe not. I'm just kidding. Happy Holidays is good. I like Happy Holidays a lot.
Yeah. But anyway, there's if you can follow that link there, sign up there if you want to help beta read the science fiction novel. United States and Canada will get a copy. International, you would have to be a supporter to get a copy. If you want to beta read it and you don't care about getting a physical copy of the book, you are also willing to international as well. But anyway, I'll be looking at those when I make my final decisions on that. We are also going to be streaming on my other channel and be talking about what is the purpose of the church. And I have a link going in for that. That is at 9 o'clock on my other channel. So have a look at that live stream over there. And I guess those are my final ones yet.
And Rita says, "Love Canadians because we are cheap. Thank God. That gives me the feel, I guess makes you feel fuzzy, Tom." That's what
nice. We're cheap. Yeah, that's right.
How can you not like Canadians? Canadians are the best.
It's just like okay. So like I sent that book to you, Vince. Like it costs over like $30 just in shipping alone to send a book to Australia. It's like really, and I did not want to promise to send a book to everywhere around the world.
That's cray. Yeah, it's all good, Tom. To give you an idea, like I've been trying to get through the Cathedral and the Bazaar, and in 2 weeks I've gotten through 11 pages. So,
nice.
I've got so much other reading to do. I've got YouTube to watch.
Hey, that's cool. Yeah, that's fine. Anna Rita, I did not send out copies to anybody yet. I will not send out the first round of copies until next week. So you have about another 7 days before you would expect to see the copy come out. So that is that. All right. We'll go ahead and wrap this up here for now. So thanks for hanging out, everybody. Tomorrow, news, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It will be a gloriously fun time. Bring your fire extinguishers. We might see some flames. Tech Haberdasher says audiobooks for life. I do have audiobooks and I do have Audible links for those audiobooks. I'll go ahead and drop one of my Audible links in here because I remembered it off the top of my head. So if you are an Audible user, I think that's right. Is that right? Let me double check if this thing's right before I post that.
But while you're doing that real quick, I just wanted to say when it comes to talking and continuing the conversation, it helps if you kind of like live the life of not putting all of your stuff on the internet, like using a bunch of cloud services and things like that. And I think that's the struggle that I've been going with people I know. Like I'm finally getting one of my very good friends who doesn't think that privacy is even going to exist in the future to start considering the privacy of not himself, but of his children. Yeah. And I'm like, yes, finally, join me on Lineage OS, no cloud services.
That actually sounds like maybe we should think about doing that as a topic for next week. What do you think?
Yeah.
I'm down.
All right.
Yeah, that would be good.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and push the stop button now before we go forever. So.
Yeah. Bye.